From Cumbanchero to caroling. Where have all the carolers gone? Episode 15 of the YouTube channel Life and Times Stories. A Christmas article by Simeon G. Silverio, Jr., publisher and editor, the San Diego Asian Journal, the leading Filipino-American newspaper in San Diego, California. Published in the December 25, 2006 issue of the San Diego Asian Journal. If you grew up in the Philippines in the 1950s, chances are you would be very familiar with the word Cumbanchero. Cumbanchero was the term used for caroling during Christmas time. Until the mid-60s, the tradition was for a group of 5 to 15-year-old boys to go around the neighborhood singing Christmas carols on the doorsteps of each house. Their voice resounded above the clatter of instruments they attempted to play. It didn't matter whether they knew how to play the instruments. As long as they sang the song loud enough, nobody cared whether they were out of tune or not. On Dapitan Street in Sampaloc, Manila, and later in Quiapo District where I grew up, I vividly remember caroling house to house with my cousins of my age. We made some of the instruments from scraps. To make a bongo drum from empty can, we covered one end with plastic, usually taken from a used raincoat, then secure it with rubber bands. 2 pieces of wood struck together gave the beat of the music. 1 piece of bamboo, with slits of lines on one side, produced a percussive scratching sound to enrich the music. Moreover, whoever among us was able to convince our parents to buy a pair of maracas or better yet a ukulele, no matter whether one knew how to play the instrument or not, received the singular and dubious honor of playing it for our listeners during our Cumbanchero sorties. My golden opportunity to play the cherished ukulele came when I was 11 years old in 1958. We were then living on the 2nd floor of our printing press in Plateria Street in Quiapo, Manila, a stone's throw away from Rayon Street, the music store mecca. My father, at this time of the day, would have coffee with his friends at Alex Soda Fountain on Rizal Avenue. It was 10 in the morning and time for him to shoot the breeze with his friends before work can be done. Most of these friends were idle landlords from Baliwag, Bulacan, who basked in the company of my father as if they had nothing better to do. They talked for almost an hour as I quietly finished the egg pie and magnolia chocolate I ordered. In my mind, I was tracing the step to Raon, the stores, and the coveted prize. The ukulele was fashionable for teenagers and young kids like me to carry around, much like a Walkman is today. After almost 2 hours, the goodbyes meant one thing. Tomorrow, same place, same time. True to his promise, my father took me to the street. You could hear the sound of guitars, drums, and music before the shops came into view. Rayon, which was later renamed Gonzalo Puyat Street after the late Filipino industrialist, was dubbed the Tin Pan Alley of the Philippines. Tin Pan Alley, for the information of the young ones, was the recording capital of the United States before the advent of Motown. There were no CDs at that time, not even cassette records. What the stores had then were 45 RPM records as well as the long-playing albums. At one store, my father asked me to select the ukulele that I wanted. I learned at an early age that to get the best quality, one has to pick up the most expensive. However, on this occasion, I decided to select a white ukulele with the words "Around the World" painted on it for very good reasons. Elvis Presley's guitar in the then popular movie Love Me Tender had a natural light wood color, so I chose one with the same hue. Around the World, sang by Matt Monro, and the theme song of the box office hit Around the World in 80 Days, starring the British actor David Niven and Mexican comedian Cantinflas, was the #1 record then. Excitedly, I showed off my new toy to my brothers and sisters, who couldn't care less, as they were not at all in the same fad I was into. During the next few days, I tried to learn to play the ukulele by clipping and trying some ukulele lessons from the newspapers. However, all I learned was the song Diana by Paul Anka, which was very popular at that time. When Christmas came, the ukulele became our Cumbanchero prop. We reasoned that as long as we sang loud enough, nobody would notice if our instruments were off-key. During the 1960s, the Cumbanchero slowly faded away from the Philippine Christmas scene. Children still did their caroling during Christmas time with the same interest that American kids did their trick-or-treat activities during the Halloween. But the caroling done by children were much more informal and with cruder accompaniments, such as stones used as symbols. However, older carolers in high school or college were more organized and played more sophisticated instruments like guitars. They did not just go house to house in one neighborhood but would make appointments with the homeowners, usually relatives or friends of one of their members. During the 70s, I already finished college and had not much interest in caroling. But for want of better things to do during the Christmas season, we organized the teenagers in our neighborhood on Matudum Street in Stay Mesa Heights, Quezon City, to do some caroling in the homes in the area. We collected enough money, which we used to stage a mini fair in front of our house, complete with a variety of games for children in the afternoon of New Year's Eve. The event was so successful and generated much fun in the neighborhood that it became a neighborhood tradition year after year until an ugly incident happened in 1975. It was early in the evening of December 16, 1975, the start of the 9-day evening mass, Simbang Gabi, prior to Christmas. One of our friends got involved in a fight in the neighborhood. The incident effectively killed the merry caroling and mini fair and eventually tarnished the tightly knit relationships of neighbors. Just like the song American Pie, it was the day the music died. Now in my 50s, and a resident of the United States for more than 2 decades, I look back with nostalgia to the days when the carols were heard with hearts full of hope for the future ahead. Every time I hear a Christmas carol, especially White Christmas of Bing Crosby, Jingle Bells, and Levi Solario's Ang Pasko ay Sumapit, I remember my happy past and the friends and relatives now gone with whom I shared those Merry Christmases. The Christmas caroling here in the United States are few and far in between. A few Filipino organizations form caroling groups and serenade friends and relatives to raise funds and spread Christmas cheer. I miss the singing of Christmas carols by children in the streets, no matter how annoying they may be at times. In the Philippines, we were forced to hand out money every minute when carolers come one after another, just like when we pass out candies during the Halloween. I hope that the children here in the U.S. would do Christmas caroling with the same passion and interest they have in doing their trick-or-treat activities. If that happens, we can have our Christmas and enjoy it too. And that closes the book on this matter. Subscribe to the YouTube channel Our Life and Times Stories to listen to more enjoyable stories like this. They are also contained in the books published by Papyrus Books, with email address papyrusbooks@yahoo.com. To order a copy of the books, go to Amazon.com and enter the name of the author, Simeon Silverio, in the browser.